Guys, I'm in a weird position this week where I wish Edward was at my house because
Oh,
something bit me and I'm having a very
Oh.
strong reaction to it and I need a vampire to suck out the venom.
Wait, Hannah, is it a hobo spider?
I don't know. It certainly could be.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown adults revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. And the coolest, absolutely coolest part of today's episode is that we finished both the books we were reading.
Woohoo!
Finally.
Yay! Last chapter of Midnight Sun and Twilight.
Oh man.
It's I've never been so happy to reach the end of an ebook ever before.
Yeah, me too.
It's a relief.
Yes, but before we get into that and all the relief, let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Sophie, and as always, I have a randomly generated YA title today, and it's pretty great, I'm not gonna lie. My randomly generated YA title for today is The Hymn of Octopuses and Houseplants.
Oh man.
Right?
That's awesome.
I'm on
Like-
board with that.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
It's also got like the alliteration between him and houseplants, which I really like.
yeah.
Mhm.
Makes it sound like a real book title.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who are you guys?
My name is Sam, and my YA title of this week is My Spoonful of Stars and Sloths.
Mhm.
Ooh. That's
Yeah.
cute.
Right?
That's
Just a
cute.
Spoonful of stars and sloths to help you sleep at night.
That feels more like a kid's book.
100%.
Yeah.
Like one of those ones that has like little fur patches and like
Yeah.
jingly parts.
Oh.
Yeah, like a baby
Yeah.
book.
It's
Yeah.
got glitter on the stars in the sky, and then you get to
Mhm.
pet the sloth with the little
Exactly.
furry part.
The
Yeah.
fur has moss on it, and that's how you know. Algae?
Yeah.
Algae.
Algae.
Algae. And I am Hannah, and my randomly generated YA title for today is actually the academic degree I'm going to get by the time we're finished with this podcast.
Oh.
And it is A Masters of Warriors in Midnight Sun.
No.
Ah.
I didn't know we were going to read the Warriors books, but apparently we are.
Oh man, I
Damn.
never read those books.
Me
Spoilers
neither.
for what we're doing next.
Yeah.
Definitely we're reading 1,000 Warriors.
Oh
books.
god. There's so many of them. I'm so intimidated.
Can't wait to learn more about Bramble Pelt. Anyway, why don't you guys tell us what last final definitively ended thing happened in the epilogues of Midnight Sun and Twilight?
Gladly.
Yay.
So your Twilight summary, your last one, is Bella is out of the hospital and she's all dressed up and ready to begrudgingly go to the prom. Yay! Though she does think she's actually being taken to her vampire transition ritual, but nobody tell her. So Edward and Bella go to the prom, Jacob comes to interrupt, and then the book ends with Edward and Bella kissing, where I can assure you, Edward's mouth is very wet.
Dry.
That is so
It's
dry.
very wet.
It's dry.
It's
Drier
so
than the
wet.
Sahara Desert.
It's so
Dry as a
wet
bone.
that that kiss is just one of those like sloppy dripping kisses.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. It's
Absolutely
so dry
not.
it sucks the moisture out of Bella's mouth, and
Nope.
both of them are dry now.
Yeah.
Nope. There's so much venom in Bella's mouth. So
No.
much.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Oh,
Edward's
I
been
don't wanna-
sucking on desiccant packs.
Yeah. I'm imagining, you know the sound that like snakes make? That like very dry sound of their scales rubbing against each other? That's what I'm imagining when
No,
Edward
it
kisses
can't happen,
Bella.
Sophie, because Edward's mouth is wet.
Doesn't make any sense. There's no pores in it. It's
This
gotta
is a
be-
democracy, and Sam is outnumbered. All right. Midnight Sun's epilogue covers the same ground as Twilight, but not just that. We also get Edward's summary of Bella's time in the hospital and their subsequent return to Forks. He reveals that Renee just, pieced out before Bella was even discharged. Charlie likes Carlisle and Alice, but rightfully hates Edward. And Alice is prepped and ready to do some insider trading on Netflix when it finally starts streaming in 2007. Also, Also, Edward is still making Bella's decisions for her because it's really important for her to be able to make the choice, but, like, not really.
Mhm.
And that's that. What a book, you guys.
Before we get into all of us complaining about Edward,
Oh.
my actual question, because I don't remember, spoilers, I don't remember any of the other books. Do you think that adding all this extra stuff before where we like open in Twilight is Stephanie Meyer like trying to explain how Bella and Alice actually got to be good friends?
Maybe.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, it seems like that's really the only purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the Twilight epilogue, a lot of assumptions are made, like, oh, Alice and Bella are hanging out. Charlie is really mad at Edward. And none of that is weird. Like, it doesn't
Mhm.
not make sense to me. But I'm wondering if in New Moon, are Alice and Bella like BFFs? And maybe people were like, when did that happen?
They're definitely BFFs at some point, but I don't remember when that happens.
They also have all that time in the hotel.
Yeah, like, it never struck me as weird, if
No,
I'm
me
remembering
neither.
correctly, thinking that Alice and Bella were really good friends.
Yeah, because it's just like in the Midnight Sun epilogue here, Edward explicitly says, it's like Alice and Bella were now suddenly best friends, just like Alice's thing foresaw. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, is that the only reason we added all of this?
At first, I was like, okay, that's a little bit of a cop-out, and then I was thinking about friendships that I have, especially, like, with you two, where it's just like, yeah, we didn't know each other, and then suddenly we were, like, BFFs, and I really don't remember the transitional period.
Yeah,
It's true.
So,
point. That's a
it's
great point.
actually a pretty accurate depiction of how friendship happens.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're best friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
It is an excellent point.
One thing that I found horrifying, I guess, about like the added stuff in Midnight Sun is that Edward just like offhandedly mentions how he relives the one perfect day that he and Bella had together. And I was like
Yeah.
struck once again by like the horrifying realization that they have been on one single date.
Yeah. A single date.
If you discount the ravioli in Port Angeles, which I do because stalking isn't a date, they have gone on one date, and then Bella met Edward's family and got chased by a vampire and assaulted in a ballet studio, and now they're in love forever.
Well, to be fair, they fell in love before all of that.
True.
So not even that long.
They were in love after a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least this point it's been more than 3 days. It's
That's
been
true.
a few weeks.
Yeah?
It
Like a
seemed
month?
like it.
How long does it take to get out of a real cast into a walking cast?
I didn't have a leg one, but I had the arm cast for 5 weeks before it got taken off. Especially with like how bad her injuries were, I'm assuming she would have to be in a cast for at least a month, and like that's on the low end, I think.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're going to prom.
Yeah.
I assume prom
Oh,
is at the
yeah.
end of the school year.
I just don't remember what part of the school year it was before.
Me neither.
It was spring break when they were in the ballet studio.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's prom now, that's been like 2
Oh.
months-ish? March
Okay.
to June-ish?
It's almost 3 months.
I feel like
That
there's
can't be right.
some time issues here.
Hmm.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's fine.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Guys, it's been so long since I've hated Edward with this much intensity.
Right? It was awful.
Like last chapter, he was starting to be terrible
Mhm.
again. And this chapter, he's just so awful.
So bad.
I think I groaned aloud 3 times and I had to put the book down once.
Yeah. And especially, like, we've talked about this before, but reading Midnight Sun has made Twilight worse.
Yes.
Because in the Twilight chapters, you have no idea that Edward is like intending to run off in New Moon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You get a sense that he's still like, oh man, I'm a monster, stay away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't understand the extent to which he means to just like absolutely disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Midnight Sun, he explicitly says that in the previous chapter. Like he's like, I'm just gonna stick around till Bella is healthy again, and then I'm gone.
Mhm.
And so it makes the epilogue here, even in the Twilight chapter, so much worse.
Oh yeah, so bad.
Mhm.
Because he's wildly territorial over Bella,
Oh my god.
even knowing that like in a month he's going to be gone. He basically tells Tyler to like never come talk to Bella ever again.
Mhm.
And in the Midnight Sun chapter, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be gone in 6 weeks or whatever."
And like what killed me about that chapter was that there was a line at one point where he's like, it isn't right for him to be making Bella's decisions, like when that's all he fucking does. I'm just
Yep.
like,
Yep.
you fucking tool.
And he says that about his like reaction to Tyler. He's like, I don't really have the right to be making the decision to like
Yeah.
tell Tyler to stay away from Bella. She can make her own choices. And I'm like, literally the only choice you're gonna let her make is which boy she talks to after you leave, like not, her own life.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance of Edward
Yeah.
is just too much.
There's several points where I'm just like, within a couple paragraphs, the cognitive dissonance is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what it is. Page 2 in Midnight Sun, the epilogue chapter. Edward is saying me and Alice cooked up, or Alice mainly, but then he helped cooking up this plan to like get Bella to go to prom.
Mhm.
And he says Alice's motivations were 70% selfish because she really wanted to like dress Bella up and, have this fun makeover time.
Yeah.
And he's like, mine was only about 10%. And then in the next paragraph, he says, I had a vision where I saw Bella telling her kids one day that she never went to prom. And they were like, man, Bella's so boring. And he's like, I want to have a memory of Bella going to prom. And it's like, that's 100% selfish. You're not even saying, like, she would want this memory.
Yeah.
Like, she pretty clearly says that she doesn't want the memory of going to prom. She starts crying when she finds out they're going to prom.
She's like so angry that she starts crying, and I'm like, yes, Bella, hold on to this anger. It's like, don't let him walk all over you.
Oh my god.
And then even at the end, after, when he's like, oh, that wasn't so bad, was it? And she's like, no, but it's because you were there, right? Which is like the whole point. You're not supposed to force your partner into doing things they hate because you think it's best for them. The whole point is you're supposed to do stuff together that you both like. And if Bella's like, I hated prom, the only part I liked about it was that you were there, then it's like, then don't fucking take her to prom.
Yeah. Maybe just like hang out and watch a movie or something.
Yep.
Like something you would both enjoy. Listen to music and Edward can wax poetic about acoustic guitars or whatever he's into.
Walk to the meadow again. I don't fucking know. Like, literally anything.
Yep.
Although she hated that too because it was a hike. So Edward maybe just like take Bella to a bookstore.
Seriously.
It's the only thing she's admitted to liking.
Oh my god, yeah.
A normal quote-unquote teenage experience includes prom. Doesn't mean that everybody's teenage experience includes prom.
Yeah.
Get bent, Edward.
Especially, I got mad every 2 seconds, but especially when he says Bella's kids are gonna think like, man, my mom never did anything interesting as a teen. And it's like, what? There's no metric for like what is and isn't interesting to have done. Bella being like, oh yeah, I went to like this beach party, like in this book alone, there are things that you can be like, yeah, that was pretty outside of what I normally do, like
I moved halfway across the country to like move in with my dad for the first time. That's a pretty intense thing that you can do.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to have these like huge dramatic moments to have had an interesting life.
No. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys notice that in Twilight, prom is held in the gym, and in Midnight Sun, prom is held in the cafeteria?
Oh my god, really?
Wait, no, I didn't catch that.
No!
Oh my god, actually?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, classic.
No.
I thought you were gonna comment on like, oh my god, the prom was held at the gym, whereas like most proms are held elsewhere, but I did not catch that. at
Oh
all.
my god. Now that you mention it though, you're right, because there's the part in Midnight Sun where he's like, all the tables had been moved, and I didn't
Uh-huh.
even think about the
I-
fact that it was in the gym.
Me neither.
I had to go double check because I was like, I could have sworn prom was in the gym. Why are they in the
Oh,
cafeteria?
It's fine.
Midnight Sun, a quality read.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Also, there's no way in hell that if this prom is like a school sanctioned activity held in the school, that Alice and Rosalie would be
Yep.
allowed in with the outfits they're described as wearing. Alice is wearing a dress with like a bunch of huge cutouts that show her milky skin or some shit like that. And then Rosalie's apparently is backless and a v-neck that goes all the way to her waist.
Oh my god.
I didn't go to an American public school. I went to a Canadian Catholic school where I would not have been allowed anywhere near the building in a dress with no back or front.
Do you want to know what the dress code is for Grand Forks Public Schools?
I 100%
I would
do.
love to know that.
Please tell us.
Okay. They're actually not as extensive as some. They're pretty like vague, which is sometimes worse because they're like, just be modest. And it's like,
Ugh.
shut up. What does that even mean?
Ugh.
But the specific ones that were like specifically mentioned were no clothing with rips or holes.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
literally first. The next one was no clothing or makeup that draws excessive attention to an individual student, which I hate that.
How do you
Yeah,
even
that's
define
First of all,
that?
yeah, that you could point at literally anything.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
I was wearing a
that's so
yellow
vague.
t-shirt, you could be like, that actually draws excessive attention to yourself. And then the other one was low-cut shirts. So
Mm.
I guess they don't specifically say low-cut dresses.
Man, there
Mm.
wasn't anything there about spaghetti straps? Or like your skirt having to be 5 fingers or whatever?
Exactly. They didn't put anything specific, but there was a sentence that was like, anything that distracts the other students. It's like,
Ugh.
shut
Ah.
the hell up.
Like, sorry that I had big boobs in high school and everything I wore distracted the other students.
I had to wear blouses with my school uniform, and I, even more so in high school than now, was like overweight and had huge boobs. So none of my shirts fit because it was a uniform. And
Mhm.
the big shirts were not quite big enough to cover my boobs, so there was just like a giant gap in my buttons, no matter what I did.
Oh, that's the worst.
Catholic school, everyone look
Yep.
at my tits.
Yep. Hello and welcome. Is this indecent? Because there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh my
Yeah, I was like,
God.
you asked for this.
So none of them, not even Bella, would have been allowed in. Is
Nope.
the end of the story.
No.
I think Stephanie Meyer has a picture of the dresses on her website somewhere. I'll have to try to scrounge them up. But anyway, should we talk about why Bella thought she was getting made over?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did either of you? You both remembered the book better than me. Did either of you not expect her to say, "I thought I was going to get turned into a vampire"?
I had forgotten that she thought that, but then like once I started reading and she wasn't expecting to go to prom, I was like, oh, because she thinks she's going to be turned into a vampire.
I 100% thought she was going to be like, "I thought we were getting married."
Oh,
That
yeah,
that's what
no.
I was expecting.
No, I full on knew. It was like, oh, she thinks she's being turned into a vampire.
Honestly, because that's all I could think of with like, why else would they be getting fancy if not to go to prom?
Yeah.
I was like, what would Bella think? They were getting married? What else do people get fancy for?
Apparently
know.
getting turned into a vampire.
Apparently. Like she knows how Alice got turned, right?
Yeah. She knows it's a painful and therefore presumably non-glamorous
Yeah.
prospect.
Yeah.
I feel like that must be an example of wishful thinking. I got like so much secondhand embarrassment though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's probably got to be part of the reason why she starts crying, because she's embarrassed that she was so wrong. That's what I would do if I
Yeah,
made like a
that's
big
fair.
assumption.
Also because she's probably like super disappointed that it's prom and not to be
Yeah.
a vampire.
Yeah.
I mean, Bella also knows that Edward is being cagey.
Mm-hmm.
When she was in the hospital, it's stated that she's like, "Stay with me," and she means forever, and Edward
Yeah.
knows she means forever.
Yeah.
And he answers like non-committally.
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
So she's probably also, upset the way you get upset when you think things aren't going right.
Yeah. It's like all of the worst Edward really comes out in the epilogue. Because, like, God
Mhm.
forbid we have a nice, peaceful ending to
Yeah.
this book.
Yep. I just went right back to hating him so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man.
much. So I decided to look up, like, you know how in Victorian times flowers all had like meanings?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there was like a whole secret flower language depending on which flowers you put in a bouquet to give to someone or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, Edward's from the
Oh,
Victorian
yes.
times.
Yep.
So I was like, I wonder what Frisia means, because he brings specifically,
Uh-oh.
he mentions Frisia to Bella. I think that's also the smell he equates her blood to, though,
Oh,
at some
yeah.
point. I looked it up. It doesn't seem to be like a super common one. Like, it's not in a bunch of the main flowers that people gave around. But as far
Yeah.
as I can tell, Frisia means friendship or innocence.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Uh,
Fuck you, Edward.
Oh, I mean, she's so pure.
she's so pure. That's the thing. And so I went on this like horrible spiral where I was like, man, it's just Edward can't handle the thought of Bella not being pure anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Which is,
I didn't even think of that.
So creepy.
it's the idea that like he's not going to even consider the fact that she could become a vampire. Even when she was dying, he would rather she died than turn into a vampire.
Oh my god.
Hate
Right?
this guy.
And I'm like, this is horrible. I hate this man so much.
I hate him so much.
I hate him so much. It's so many red flags.
So many. It, like, makes me wonder how much of that is intentional.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're supposed to like Edward, is the
Yeah.
problem. But he is so incredibly unlikable in this book that, like, is it supposed to be, like, sexy that he's possessive and controlling and, like, has so many red flags he could sail an armada with it?
Yeah.
He's always, like, contradicting it, too.
Yeah, and he especially in the epilogue, he makes it very clear that he is not okay with Bella talking to any boy who isn't in his family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bella starts sitting with them in the cafeteria at lunch, sitting with the Cullens. And he says, I didn't like that she was becoming alienated from her former friends. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, you do.
You
This is your
literally
fault?
chased all of the boys away.
You don't like any of her friends. You actively hate all of them except for Angela, whose only personality traits are good and quiet.
Yeah. The contradictions he's creating here are like exactly how you get trapped into an abusive relationship.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they give you these parameters that you can meet. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I don't want you talking to any boys. And you're like, okay. But then in doing so, you don't talk to any of the girls because like everyone's been scared off. And then it's like, well, now like why don't you have any friends? You know?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so textbook emotional abuse
Yep.
that I'm having a hard time believing that it's not intentional, but then also having an equally hard time trying to figure out why it would be intentional.
Yeah.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to take away from any of this.
Oh my god, when she cries, he says you're being ridiculous.
Right?
Oh my god, it made me so mad.
Oh my
I'm
god.
so mad.
Like, the whole chapter is just a trigger warning for emotional abuse survivors. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
The other big one is Jacob comes up to ask Bella if he can have a dance so that he can tell her Billy's warnings to break up with Edward and stay away from him. And while Edward is like listening to Jacob's thoughts about it, he's like, Billy and whatever insulting thing he calls them, like the old wolves or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't say wolves because can't foreshadow that much.
No.
But he says like, oh, they're determined to turn us into monsters. And like 2 paragraphs later, he says like, Bella, I don't want to turn you into a monster.
Like,
like
pick one,
what?
Edward. Pick one.
Yeah,
you're either a
what's
monster
happening?
or you're not.
Like, it's the
I hate
same
him.
thing earlier where he doesn't seem to think his family members are monsters, but he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, Edward needs so much help.
So much therapy.
Right? Like, I can understand not having an accurate self-perception, because that's something that I struggle with as well. But,
Mhm.
like, not to the point of gaslighting and abusing people I care about.
Yeah,
Yep.
no.
Obviously, people who are suffering can also then abuse other people.
Mhm.
It's not like you get a free pass out of being shitty if you're in a shitty mental state.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, like, oh my god. Oh my god, Edward.
Yeah.
You need to stop.
It's like he doesn't even realize that his thought processes and his actions are inappropriate and unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, he seems to think that this is all fine, that he
Yeah.
self-flagellates to this degree and also is overly controlling of Bella.
So terrible.
Guy.
Okay. Just to move slightly to the side of this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
As the only person who historically, once upon a time when I was 17 years old, was on Team Jacob.
Yes.
I just want to talk about how not shitty Jacob was in this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially comparing him to Edward, who's being like an absolute tool.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way Jacob is not making a huge deal out of the fact that Bella chose Edward over him. He's like, he straight up tells Bella, like, I'm interested in you, but doesn't put pressure on her to break up with Edward or be
Mhm.
like, you should date me instead. He's
Mhm.
super uncomfortable that Billy has essentially sent him to tell Bella to break up with Edward. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I can't even like say the rest of this. It's too much. I'll just leave.
Yeah.
And even the parts where Edward is reading Jacob's mind, he's like, Jacob doesn't want to overstep. So he's like asking if he can cut in for a dance. He's like respecting Bella.
Yeah, Twilight Jacob is wonderful.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially when compared to Edward in Twilight
my
and
God.
Midnight Sun.
But like
Yeah.
preface that with only Twilight Jacob.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, only Twilight Jacob.
He gets
Exactly.
He also gets pretty bad.
They're both awful is the problem.
Yeah.
They're both awful.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not reading New Moon again.
No.
We're just gonna leave it here.
We're gonna convince you. We're gonna find a way to make you read New Moon.
I don't want to. I'm gonna
Don't
be
you
so
want to
mad.
biologize the werewolves?
No,
I kind of do.
maybe a
I
little
do.
bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
I do. I want to talk about the little pouch they create for their pants.
Oh my god.
I feel like the problem with reading New Moon is that it's gonna make me open the fan fiction I wrote in 2008,
Oh.
where I was like, and Bella gets therapy and then she's fine.
On a different note, Sophie,
Uh-oh.
is
Oh, no.
Edward really 1,000 times stronger than Bella? Did you math it? I need to know.
I did not math it.
Damn it. That's okay.
I thought about it, but I was like, I don't even know where to start.
I was thinking
Yeah.
back to the meadow scene because I thought we figured out, or you figured out, not we. How
None of this we business.
Yeah, I was like, I did not math that. I thought you figured out like when he threw the tree trunk, like how strong he was, and then I was like, wait, could we compare that to an average human to see if he was really 1,000 times stronger than Bella?
Let me just super quick check my notes. I thought I couldn't actually figure out.
I also tried to do that one and couldn't figure it out.
That might be the correct thing, yeah.
I mean, I guess we could probably now find out how strong Edward is. If we look up the average, I don't know, bench press of an untrained 17-year-old girl and then multiply
Yeah.
that by 1,000, but
And be like, could someone punch a hawthorn tree in half or whatever he did?
Yeah, if they had that much strength.
Mhm.
In relation to that, I did have to look up something from a previous chapter.
Oh.
And I was so sad to realize it was all the way back in chapter 9 was the last time I had a qualifier to add to the word vampire.
Oh man, it's been a while.
Oh.
It's been a while. Edward, it turns out, doesn't really refer to himself as something vampire that often.
Huh.
Oh.
Because in this chapter, when Jasper and Alice and Rosalie and Emmett are dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Edward calls them showboating vampires. So
He does.
yeah, so to just tag that on to the previous stuff we had, we now have stupid, unreliable, creepy, obsessive, showboating, guardian, vampire, stalker.
Love it. Not.
That's all the things.
That's a pretty succinct summary.
It
Pretty
is.
succinct summary of Edward as a thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, this is the summary of Midnight Sun.
Yeah.
Is that. I also had to look something up, but it was vocabulary. I came across a word I didn't know in Midnight Sun.
Oh.
And it's
fun.
mean, M-I-E-N. Edward says that Bella's mean changed, and I was like, the fuck is that?
What is mean?
I googled it and hit the pronounce button. I would have said mean.
Mate. Oh.
And it's a person's look or manner, especially one of a particular kind, indicating their character or mood.
Oh.
So it's basically expression, but a fancy word for it.
A very fancy word.
So, mean. New vocabulary here at the end of Midnight Sun. And the twilight of this novel.
They said it.
They
This was
did.
the chapter where he said Twilight.
They said it many times.
It's the end of something.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully she doesn't write any more books after Twilight.
Well, we already know that she's,
She's mentioned a few others
yeah.
that we have to read, I guess, if they come out now that we've made this our brand for some reason.
Did you guys know that Twilight doesn't just mean nighttime? It's also the morning time?
Wait, what?
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Twilight
Huh.
Twilight is in between sunset and dusk, and also between dawn and sunrise.
Really?
It's
Huh.
both. So Twilight is not just an end, Edward. It's the start.
But it's
of
the
a new
end of the
day.
night.
Which is probably important that it's the end and also the start of the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super deep and meaningful.
Mm-hmm. I liked the fact that Edward, looks off into the distance all contemplatively and says, Twilight again in Midnight Sun. And I was like, yeah, no kidding! Twilight
Yeah.
again?
It happens every goddamn day, you
Again.
doofus.
It's like, I already did Twilight and now we're doing Twilight again.
But from Edward's perspective,
No.
I wonder if they say Twilight again in Life and Death.
Yep.
Oh.
Twilight a third time.
Twilight
We're gonna have
still.
to read that book, aren't we?
We are. I think we need a break first.
Yeah.
I most definitely need a break.
We're gonna take a break and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna read chapter by chapter Twilight, Midnight Sun, and Life
No.
and Death.
I refuse to ever read Midnight Sun again. I am
Absolutely
never putting myself through that again. Ever. I'm sorry.
How will you know what Edwina is thinking?
I do not care. Edwina.
Edwina and Bello.
Yeah.
Women can be just as emotionally manipulative and abusive as men can. I don't care. I'm not reading
Oh,
it.
man.
Yeah, but how will you remember exactly
I
how
don't
much?
care, Sophie.
Okay, wait, what if she, gender swapped but also role swapped? So
No.
the, human man was the super creepy manipulative one to the, very powerful 100-year-old vampire one?
The very powerful,
That would be worse.
I would be
super
more mad.
innocent.
I would be
Oh my
more
god.
mad in that situation.
Infuriating.
Even more Edward.
No,
Oh.
Edwina.
Sorry,
Edwina.
Edwina. I'm actually thinking about that. That would enrage me.
It would be
much
so
more.
terrible.
You have this fucking 100-year-old vampire, powerful, whatever woman, and then you've got this stupid doofus 17-year-old boy thinking he knows more and is trying to oh my god, I'm mad just thinking about it. I can't.
Hey, remember Ruin and Rising?
I don't want to, Hannah. I
I
don't want
I erased
to.
it.
Why
from my
would you
memory.
bring that back up in my mind?
I was looking at my Goodreads stats earlier, and I have rated 3 books 2 stars so far this year, and 2 of them were Ruin and Rising and Midnight Sun.
Yep, that tracks. That tracks.
Can we go a single
Terrible.
episode without talking about Shadow and Bone?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think
If we
so.
keep talking about it, we're gonna have to do it as our next
Oh god.
book.
Oh god. Okay, I'll stop.
Stop talking.
The thing
Don't want
is
to read that
about
book
that
ever
book
again.
is that we should have read it as teenagers, but didn't,
Yeah.
and first time read it as an adult. I feel
Yeah.
like teenage me would have enjoyed those books. I feel like adult me did not.
Yeah, like if I read them when I was 15 or younger, I think I
Yeah.
would have enjoyed them.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I'm like, these are terrible.
Oh god.
Yeah.
You know what's worse?
Anyway, what?
Midnight Sun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Easily.
is.
As has happened in pretty much every chapter, there were 2 sentences that I liked that made me laugh.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah?
Midnight Sun. Yeah.
Which ones?
When Bella is being like, was Charlie in on this to get her to go to prom? And Edward thinks, yes, the entire town of Forks and probably most of the county was in on the secret of prom being held tonight. They'd even put up top secret posters and banners
Yeah.
all over the school.
That was a funny line.
And I was like, that was good. If I wasn't so mad at Edward, I would have liked that more. It
Yeah,
Yep.
same.
was still
Yeah.
pretty funny though. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
Bella, how did you not know
Oh my
that
God.
today was prom?
I don't know how she missed that.
Yeah. First of all, it's all anyone was talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Also, like, Edward explicitly doesn't seem like he was trying to keep it a secret,
Yeah. It
right?
didn't. I never got that impression.
He was being pretty obvious about it. I guess he just never thought that Bella's mind would be. Because how could Bella possibly think she's being turned into a vampire by looking all pretty and nice?
Uh-huh.
I'm convinced that in between the parts where we see them talk in the books, they don't talk. I think they just
Yeah.
stare at each other
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, it's been like months.
Bella hasn't made comments being like, man, I'm so glad I'm not going to prom
Uh-huh.
because
Yeah.
I don't want to go. It seems like such a waste of time.
Uh-huh. Like
Yeah.
Alice hasn't brought it up.
Yeah, like Alice didn't foresee that Bella was going to hate it.
Yeah, right?
Or just like get excited and try to like talk Bella into it by like hyping up the idea of prom for weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Alice seems pretty into prom.
Yeah.
Well, we know that this line made me so mad. We
Uh-oh.
know that Bella doesn't think about the same things that Edward does. She especially doesn't think about the same permanent things that Edward does. Things like pain. Pain that didn't have to end. Which is
Oh my
where I had to put the
God.
book down, because what the actual
What the actual
You know what I want to
Who said-
do? I want to go through all of like Edward's melodramatic lines like that and just like make a song, because I feel like we would
Oh my
have
god, do it!
a 2010s like emo sad song. It'd be a sad
Yes.
bop. And it's just
Yes.
Edward being melodramatic.
It's just there's no way other than like Edward is actively sabotaging himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a thing that happens. Like
Yeah.
if you're in a bad mental place and you think things are going too well, so you start to actively sabotage things
Yep.
because of whatever like reasons
Yep.
your
Mhm.
brain has for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Edward's doing. He can't believe that he should be happy, so he's making sure he's not.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a part where he's like, I kept getting pulled in by the feeling of rightness, and I had to remind myself that was a lie. And it's like, it's not a lie.
Yeah, you could just enjoy it.
You
Yeah.
could just enjoy it. He's basing it off the fact that Rosalie is angry that her
Yeah.
humanity was stolen from her, and he doesn't want that for Bella. So instead, he's just like, I'm just not going to tell Bella that's an option, and we're going to run away so that she never knows.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just like talking it out with her and being like, maybe we should wait until you're like 25.
Mm-hmm. Or even considering that of their family of 7, one of them is really angry about being a vampire. The other 6, I guess 5, because Edward, not so much, but like the other 5 seem pretty chill with it. That's a pretty
Yeah.
good ratio.
Like
Yeah.
Emmett was essentially turned into a vampire because Rosalie loved him so much.
Yeah.
And he was totally chill with it.
Yeah. She was just like, I am in love with this human that I have just now seen being killed by a bear. And he woke up as a vampire and was like, chill.
I
It's
love
so
it.
Emmett, though.
It is so Emmett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the mention of the fact that Emmett really likes Bella because she has strange human reactions to things.
Mhm.
I really like the idea
It's
of them
cute.
just like hanging out and Emmett, like, I don't know, buying her like the weirdest snacks he can find at a convenience store and being like, describe this to me.
Tell me what it's like.
What does this taste like?
In my head, Emmett's the youngest, right? Of the
Yes.
vampires.
Turned the most recently.
The way the story was told, it was like he was hiking and got attacked by a bear, and then they found him and turned him into a vampire. And in my head, that meant like the 70s. Like, right? I was like, that feels like it wouldn't be way long ago. But then I looked it up and it's like, oh yeah, he was turned into a vampire in 1930 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's still a long time ago.
It is still a long time ago.
I guess people went hiking in 1930. It just feels weird to me.
How do you hike without a windbreaker?
Yeah, like, was he just in like full 1930s attire? I can only imagine like flappers and the people with them. So
Yeah.
I'm like, was he in like a suit
Yeah, wearing a hat, 100%.
with like those tiny round glasses
Yeah.
with the chain off of the side
Yeah.
Dapper
and a big
Emmett.
handlebar mustache?
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Is what I assume.
Yeah. He couldn't possibly have
imagine
looked any other way.
Imagine if one of the vampires had like really unfortunate facial hair.
Or like was turned in the 80s and just had
Yeah.
80s hair.
Oh.
Like, imagine Rosalie, but with like Farrah Fawcett hair, just like big and goofy.
Oh my god.
Edward, but with a mullet.
Yeah, like
Oh my
she'd
God,
gotten a
imagine
perm
being turned
the week
into
before.
Oh no. Oh.
I guess like you could just shave it all off.
Could you?
Yeah, that would be your only choice at that point.
With
Yeah.
with diamond cutters.
Yeah, but if they had like facial hair,
Oh.
what do you do then?
Well, you can get like diamond encrusted razors, I'm pretty sure.
You use your diamond strong fingernails to scrape off all your facial hair.
To pluck each hair out.
I mean, they got a lot of time. They don't sleep.
Yeah.
They're invincible. No, inevitable is. What's the word?
Mhm. Yep.
Immortal.
Both of those.
Jesus
Immortal. I was
Christ.
like, what word are you looking for?
Now I'm just
My Immortal.
imagining. Nope. Still a better book than Twilight.
No.
Have you read My Immortal? It's amazing.
No.
Wait, I thought we were talking about the Evanescence song.
That's what it's named after.
I did read the Twilight fanfiction that was trying to be My Immortal, and it was called
Oh.
Forbidden Fruit, The Temptation of Edward Cullen.
Biden?
Forbidden Fruit, The Temptation of Edward Cullen.
I love it.
For Biden.
It was really good.
My roommates and I spent an evening reading all of My Immortal aloud in university, and we were having such a good time that we hung a poster board on the wall and wrote down all of our favorite quotes.
Oh my god.
It was so, by the time you get to whatever chapter like 15, it's
Oh.
obvious that someone was writing this as a joke,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but
That's what I've heard.
god, it was good. It was so amazing. Okay.
Chill.
Do we have anything else to say about these chapters?
Not really.
I feel like I need something like poignant to sum up these books. But really all I have is that Edward sucks.
That's my
I thought
conclusion as
you
well.
said pointy, and maybe you need the one stiletto heel that Bella was wearing
Oh my
with a walking cast.
Who
True.
puts somebody in a walking
Yeah.
cast
Oh
in
my
a
God.
fucking stiletto? Who does that?
One heel and one not heel. She's just gonna be
Yeah.
lopsided anyway.
Who fucking does that?
Give the girl a ballet flat, like honestly.
Seriously.
Seriously.
She has one broken leg. Give her a running shoe.
Oh my god, I will never
Maybe even like a
understand that.
wedge. At the very least, if she has to be
Yeah.
wearing a heel, maybe a wedge heel or like a
Like,
kitten heel, not a stiletto with no shoe. It's just like a satin strap with a heel on it, from what it sounds
yeah.
like.
Also, like, you're taking her to prom and you know she has a broken leg. Like, maybe you should have gotten her a floor-length dress to hide
Yeah,
the walking cast. Like,
Yeah.
maybe if you were thoughtful.
yeah, Alice.
Oh, Alice.
Neither of them are.
Neither of them. They're both
Ugh.
the worst.
They're both obsessed with what they want to get out of this prom, not what Bella wants.
Classic
Yeah.
narcissism.
Listen, Alice, I like you, but you're on thin ice.
Yeah.
I feel like she at least is self-aware and doesn't care. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm doing this because I want to give Bella a makeover. And it's like, okay, I mean, at least you're upfront about it.
Yeah.
Unlike someone I could mention.
Who just wants his own memory of prom, so when he's like, I had to leave her behind, but at least we had a one good prom night. It's like, shut the hell up, Edward.
Yeah, so he could have
Seriously.
like a memory of her having prom. Like, oh, shut up.
At the end, when she brings up, like, oh, I thought I was going to get turned into a vampire, he's like, I couldn't believe the perfect evening was being ruined with this thought. And it's like, I'm going to strangle you,
It's like,
Edward.
you just
I'm going to
shut
figure
your
out how to
mouth.
strangle a vampire. I'm going to strangle you. Anyway, that's probably all we have to say about these chapters. Edward Cullen.
Edward Cullen.
So what do you guys think is going to happen in the next book? Normally
Oh.
talk about what's the next chapter of Twilight. So what do you think is going to happen in the next book of Twilight?
I think Jacob is going to turn into a werewolf.
Whoa. What makes you say that?
Because, you know, it was like foreshadowed at the
Mhm.
end of Midnight Sun and like earlier in Midnight Sun that like for some reason Jacob thinks Bella smells really bad when she's been hanging out with Edward, and I think
Mhm.
that might be because he's a werewolf and
Like
he
maybe
thinks vampires smell bad.
when it was very subtly foreshadowed when Bella had a
So
dream
subtle.
about Jacob turning into a wolf.
Yeah. And when Jacob said that his ancestors could turn into wolves, I think all of that like very subtle foreshadowing is going to mean that Jacob is going to become a werewolf in New Moon.
Wow. You really read between the lines there.
Yeah, it's kind of
really.
a deep pull, but I feel
Yeah.
pretty confident.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Sam?
I am pretty certain that this love story is gonna have some tragic end because Edward's definitely gonna leave Bella. Like, there's,
Whoa.
Oh,
I
you think?
don't, I
Do you
don't
think he's gonna leave?
I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't know if he's gonna stick by his words, but like, I feel like he's gonna
Mhm.
like tell Bella that he leaves, and then like continues to like watch her, and then
Ooh.
like, you know, be all
That would
creepy
be like
stalkerish.
Yeah, that would be like a really creepy stalker thing to do, though.
It would be super creepy if
It
he
would
did
be
Super
that.
out of character for him.
Yeah, it would be so out of character and like really ruin the dynamic love story. But I think I think he's still gonna like keep a really close eye on her, and then she's gonna like do something that's gonna friggin'
Mm.
upset him, and he's gonna
Mm.
go all melodramatic and pull some shit, and that's gonna be like the main antagonist point of the plot. It's gonna be just
Oh, yeah.
like this shit that Edward's like, I can't live anymore because Bella did this. And
That doesn't
Dang.
sound like him.
really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm sure
Yeah,
only one
I
of you can
guess.
be true. So
Mhm.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll
I guess we'll find
out.
out.
I think Bella gets therapy and gets, if Edward theoretically would leave, I think she gets therapy and is fine with it.
Wait, but then what's book 3 and 4 about?
Nah, she finds some new guy.
I mean, fair.
Some guy who's
A
Frankenstein.
fairy?
A fairy.
Fairy.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
we're going to Sarah J. Maas territory
Yeah,
now.
we're going
Right,
to
I take it
Prithia.
back.
Where the first love
Yeah.
interest is never the only love interest, which I support.
Turns out the first 6 or however many boys asked her out
Yeah.
are not the right love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Throne of Glass.
True. Yeah,
Hmm.
there we go.
Anyway, can't wait to see. I can wait.
Mm-hmm.
I can wait a very long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe let's talk about what other books we're reading. I just finished the second Saint of Steel series book. is what I meant to say. So I finished Paladin Strength, and it was very good. And talking about a callback to an earlier episode, I think in our first episode we talked about tropes we really like, and one of the ones I mentioned was a Beauty and the Beast trope.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked, I think Sam asked, have you ever seen it happen the other way, where like the female character was the beast and like the male character was the quote unquote beauty? I think this book has it.
Oh.
And it was really great, and I liked it a lot.
That's cool, yeah.
That is really cool.
I've been obsessed with T. Kingfisher lately.
Yeah.
And as of this point, I've read all of her books, and
Wow.
I'm very sad about it.
Aww.
Yeah, now you gotta wait.
Now I have to find something else to wait for.
Aww.
That's what I read.
I'm reading, I don't like the book so far. I'm reading the Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's the same author that wrote The Martian. And I'll just say, as of right now, I can't stand the main character, who's a dude, who's a scientist. And the way that this guy just writes this man is like, yeah, like, that's totally cool, man. Like, yeah, science, yeah. And I'm just like, I hate this. Anyways, the audiobook makes it 10 times worse.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and so besides that, I'll probably also be starting Fable soon by Adrienne Young, because that is our Midlight Book Club book of the month for July.
Yeah.
Or I might have already read it at this point. It's really hard to say.
Listen, it's field season. We're recording very far in advance. Who knows when this is going to come out or what we'll have read by then.
It's
Despite,
very true.
or perhaps because of the pandemic, our summers are all a little wild.
Just a little wild.
Well, speaking of the Midlight Book Club, I am carrying on with a couple of series that we started for the book club. So I am listening to Flamefall by Rosaria Munda.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah,
yes.
It's really good so far. It's the sequel to Fireborn, which we read in February. And then in paper, I'm reading Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab, which is the sequel to our June Midlight Book Club book, which was The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab.
Look at you.
I'm only a couple chapters into that one. I meant to read more last night, but then I took Benadryl for the first time and was totally non-functional.
Yep.
So I didn't actually read any more of it last night.
Benadryl will do that to you.
Oh man, I have never felt like that before. It's quite an experience.
Dang.
But yeah, if it's July, we're going to be reading Fable.
Because pirates.
Yes.
Because pirates, yes. And that was Sam's choice, because July is Sam month. Happy birthday, Sam!
Happy almost birthday, Sam.
Thanks.
Everybody go to social media and say, happy birthday, Sam. Make sure you hashtag Team Dry.
Team Wet!
Team Dry, happy birthday. Team Dry.
Team Wet, happy birthday.
If you liked this final Twilight/Midnight Sun chapter, Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Who says
Whoa.
that? Consider rating and reviewing us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us, find fun-related content, wish Sam a happy birthday, and show your support for Team Dry on social media.
Team Wet!
We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the podcast is not ending with the
No.
end of Midnight Sun and Twilight. Got some like wrap-up content where we can recap all of our favorite parts of the books.
None of them.
In various ways. And then we're going to be moving on to something else, so stay tuned.
It's going to be good.
So good.
And for your final Edward's thoughts from Midnight Sun. Perhaps she hoped we could forget this episode, as though it had merely been one bad chapter, rather than foreshadowing to the only possible conclusion. The end.
Guys, we did it.
We did it! Wow!
Woo!
We read all of Twilight and Midnight Sun. Who'd have thunk it?
I'm gonna go take a shot now.
Take a shot for every time you
Nope.
hated Edward.
Nope. You're gonna
I'm
die. Don't do that.
We're dead.
I hope this podcast doesn't make me hate the next book as much as it made me hate
Yeah,
Twilight.
me too. Surely it can't.
Surely not.
There isn't an abusive relationship in it?
I think there's a pretty questionable one.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Age gaps.
No.
Oh.
I don't remember anything about this book.
I never read this book.
I loved
Oh.
this book and I am so excited.
I also loved it, but I certainly don't remember any of it.
It's gonna be great. We're all gonna have a great time. It's definitely not gonna be horrifying. What could possibly go wrong?